Over the past few months, KO has become an essential part of Pro Valorant. He can be a game-breaking pick for most teams, but for whatever reason, you guys refuse to pick him in ranked. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and make a guide for arguably his best map, Ascent. Here are some essential knives and mollies you'll need to know. Alright, so as soon as the round starts, you're probably going to want to throw KO's knife somewhere. The quicker you use it, then the faster you'll get it back, and you can use it again throughout the round. But to start things off, let's take a look at B site on defense. So as KO, your job is to gather info for your team and to use your utility to stop pushes. So a good knife to start the round is to throw one here B main, and that'll let you know if there are any enemies nearby. So keep in mind that attackers are eventually gonna know that you're throwing it back here. So you can start throwing it closer to you here. You can throw it along this entire wall. And if you throw it here, they won't actually be able to shoot the knife, which is a bonus. So if your opponents have already made it onto the site, then chances are this is gonna be smoked off and you're gonna be forced to retake. So here's a molly that can prevent plant from going down. You bank it off the wall there and it just lands default. And lastly, I want to show you guys a lineup that can destroy Killjoy's lockdown if it's placed B main. So what you do is you get into this corner here and you're gonna line your crosshair up with this pipe that's in the middle of the window. And there's this line that goes across the window here. You're gonna aim in between this line and the top of the window and throw. And it lands just on the corner of the box, so it'll destroy the lockdown. Next, let's take a look at some options for playing mid. Like most defender side knives, using KO's 0 point is pretty situational. So you can throw one here to clear tiles. You can throw one over there to clear top mid. And attackers won't be able to shoot it because it's on the other side of each wall. If you're smoked off mid-round and you're looking for info, then sometimes I like to just knife here. That way you know if someone's up close. Or you can knife here and you can see if there's a potential cap push going on. Now let's check out A site. So if you're starting the round in A main, then a simple knife like this will give you all of the info that you need. You can hit a similar spot from back here on heaven, but you just want to make sure that it's not too close to the corner of the wall, otherwise your enemies could potentially wallbang it. You can also knife along this wall mid-round to gather info. If you're playing garden or tree, then you can knife here to see if anybody has made their way up cat. And you can also knife for your teammates on A main here. If you're playing on cat at the start of the round, then you can quickly send a knife over to tiles to get info for the rest of your team. Lastly, here's a molly that can help deny default plant. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line our crosshair up with this line here, and we're gonna aim just above it, and we're gonna run forward and throw the molly while we jump. And we wanna throw it when we pass this part of the wall here. And that will land on the default plant spot. So one thing to keep in mind about that molly is that it does take a couple seconds to actually land here. So you might want to throw it before you actually hear the spike start to go down. Now let's take a look at A site on attack. So the obvious knife at the start of the round is to throw one just above arches here, because then you'll know if someone's peeking main. But sometimes I like to throw a knife here. That way you know if someone's sitting switch or on cat. If your team's getting ready to hit the site, then here's a good lineup that can help clear heaven and the back of gen. So what you're gonna do is line your crosshair up with this pointy thing here. And then you see these two clouds, so there's one here and one here. You wanna go in between them, throw, and you have a lot of time here, so you can even flash above, flash the site for your team, and it'll land back here. So if your team wants to do an A split and you want to clear garden for them, then here's a good knife. What you want to do is aim just the very edge of this wall, and then if you look up, there's this cloud here and then there's this roof. If you throw the knife just in between both of them, it will land up here. So this clears garden, this clears window, part of heaven. And if there's a killjoy waiting to use their lockdown here, then they have to wait even longer. Next, let's talk about mollies. So let's say you've already planted the bomb here and the enemy killjoy just used her lockdown. What you want to do is line up your crosshair just with the line of these tiles here. And then if you line up the edge of the icon for KO's mollies with this wire here and the ledge here, just like that, and then throw. This will land on the other side here, and it'll destroy a lockdown if it's on the box here. This second one I saw in a match between Rise and Sonics, and it's honestly pretty cool. So I want to show you guys how to do it. For this one, you want to line your character up with the middle of this beam here. And then if you look up, there's this semicircle being made by the clouds. So if you aim just in the middle of that and then slightly to the right and throw, This will land in tree. And this will prevent any defenders from helping their team on site. So that combined with a smoke can do some serious damage. And to finish off, let's take a look at some options for B-side executes. This basic knife can be thrown at the start of the round and will tell you if someone's peeking B main or the surrounding area. A good way to change this one up is to go back in this corner. And if you look up, this cloud, at least to me, it looks kind of like a duck's beak. So if you aim in between the beak here and throw, this knife lands on top of the roof B main. You can also knife this tree here. A lot of Sovas tend to dart that spot, but keep in mind that these last two that I showed you can both be shot from defenders on site. So I would change it up every round. So here's a molly that can help you hit B site. You're gonna go into this back corner here, and if you put your crosshair in between these two bars, and then just above the windowsill, you're gonna move forward, start running forward, and throw the molly almost immediately. It's gonna bounce off that wall and hit CT. All right, so that should help you get started with some KO lineups on Ascent. If you wanna see more videos like this, then let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I think you got something.
We're like 2 lines in and this is a 10-minute recording.
Well, that's like
F-word.
Mauled.
And let us know in the comments.
This guy fucking sucks.
They'll tell you that no matter how good you are, I promise. Good.
I smiled a bit.
You did.
I don't do that
There you
often.
go.
They don't know I smiled once. And they don't know I hit diamond once. From back here, you can run, jump, and throw. It'll bank potential end board material.